Hey guys, now that I finally got Hollyberry and experimented with her a little bit, I'm going to do a September Arena tier list. I'm going to give you my opinion after playing a lot of Arena on what cookies are good, what cookies are not. There are so many epic and above cookies right now. I'm just going to stick to the epic, legendary, and ancient cookies. So let's get started. Just to tell you about my tier list, SS is the best, most obvious Arena cookies, right? SS, there's no debate. Those are like the must-have cookies for Arena. You're going to use different comps, so you might not always use SS tier cookies, but there is no debate. SS are the absolute best cookies in Arena. I'm going to start off with Hollyberry. Hollyberry, I'm going to take and move to S tier. Here's why. Hollyberry can be SS tier for certain teams. If you are a whale and you have the absolute best top-ends possible, if you have level 12 on all your treasures, Hollyberry can be absolutely awesome. But you're going to need huge damage resist on the rest of your cookies because there is a portion of time, there's that 7 second window that you are not covering your team and they need to be able to survive. And because of that, they need to have huge damage resist. And because of this, Hollyberry is not SS tier in my opinion. If Hollyberry can only work for a very small subset of people, not SS tier. I think Hollyberry can be improved. I think Hollyberry needs to have a little bit more damage focus percentage, right? I think it should go to 20 to 25% so that Hollyberry is able to cover the team a little bit better. I also think the cooldown needs to be reduced for Hollyberry. I think those are two improvements that make Hollyberry worth being an ancient. I think Hollyberry needs to be buffed, but there are a lot of top teams using Hollyberry because they do have whale top-ends, and that does make her pretty decent. Saying that, I have a lot of friends on my friend list that are top 30, top 50. They were using Hollyberry. They're no longer using Hollyberry. They're using Strawberry Crepe. So even the whales are starting to not use Hollyberry. That shows you she's probably S tier at the moment. We're going to go to Pure Vanilla Cookie. This is easy. SS, right? Pure Vanilla Cookie is the absolute best healer in the game. No question about it. When you add in that shield, they give you that extra additional protection for 3 seconds. It just keeps your team alive so much longer than the rest of the cookies. Alright, we are going to go Seafaring. This is an easy call. SS tier as well. Seafaring is by far the best DPS damage dealer in the game. Not in terms of actually doing the most damage, but Seafaring does a lot of damage to a group of enemies, and Seafaring gives you that 3 second stun. Seafaring is a must-have on most teams. When we're talking about SS, these are pretty much cookies that are required on pretty much every Arena team. And you'll hardly find any Arena team that doesn't have Seafaring or Pure Vanilla Cookie unless there's some kind of stun comp team. Now we're going to go to Almond. Almond, I am going to go with S tier. Here's why. Almond's not used in a lot of comps. I should say Almond's not used in every comp, but there are a lot of stun comps that Almond's used on. And he is a must-need on some of these stun comps. If you go the traditional Tiger Lily, Almond, with the front line of Gingerbread Cookie, Almond is a beast in that comp. Now, I know there's a lot of Gingerbread Tiger Lily comps that don't use Almond, but there are some that still use Almond. Also, Almond does great in some of the speed comps. There's the speed comps where you add Almond to do as much crit damage as possible and wipe the team out before you even hit that minute mark. So Almond's used, and in the right comps, Almond is an absolute beast in Arena. Okay, Chili Pepper, C, not really used much. I don't really have an F. I don't want to be that mean. So C, down here, not used much, hardly ever seen, but cool cookie. Cream Puff is an interesting cookie. I'm going to put Cream Puff at tier B, but Cream Puff might be a tier A cookie. Cream Puff does not do a lot of damage. That's kind of the problem with Cream Puff, but Cream Puff does heal. So if you want to go with 2 healer lineups where you don't need as much healing, but you do want to do some damage, Cream Puff might be the answer. I want to level up. I don't have no experience jellies yet, but I want to level up Cream Puff and find out. I kind of feel like if I take, like, say, my Squid Ink comp that has the 4 damage dealers and 1 pure vanilla cookie, right? Only 1 healer. I'm wondering if I add Cream Puff to that lineup, does that lineup survive longer? And is Cream Puff's damage enough to kind of sustain the group? It's possible Cream Puff could move to A, but when I've seen Cream Puff, on other teams in Arena. Hardly a difference maker, so Cream Puff is at B. Dark Choco at A. Dark Choco is used in some Arena teams. Dark Choco does its job, right? The additional 20% attack that you're able to do, but not super meta cookie. Now, Black Raisin Cookie is a awesome cookie in Arena. A lot of top teams use Black Raisin Cookie. Black Raisin Cookie isn't used in every comp, though. Sometimes they use Black Raisin Cookie, sometimes they use Sorbet Shark Cookie, so it's kind of interchangeable. Sometimes people use Sorbet Shark and Black Raisin Cookie, but a lot of comps don't use Black Raisin Cookie at all. S tier for Black Raisin Cookie because while she is good and does a lot of damage, she doesn't quite get to that must-have on your team double S tier. Okay, Espresso. A tier. When you're just starting out and you don't have that many epic cookies, Espresso is great. Get Espresso, level up Espresso. Does a fine job, does some good damage, right? Clusters the enemies. If you use Espresso and a cookie like Black Raisin, who hits in a row, right? Espresso pulls the enemies together, then Black Raisin will be able to hit more of them. So Espresso works good in some comps, but not a meta cookie anymore. Fig Cookie, I'm going to put in B tier. Fig Cookie is hard. I don't even see Fig Cookie being used in B tier anymore. So I'm just going to go C because Fig Cookie just not used. Just not a difference maker, honestly. I wish they would have made Fig Cookie a little better because Fig Cookie is pretty cool. Herb Cookie, I'm going to put in A tier. Herb Cookie was one of the absolute best healers in the game. Herb Cookie was the best healer in the game when the game first started. But Herb Cookie has fallen a little bit lower because there are better healers in the game than Herb Cookie. There's actually several better healers, and some of them aren't even technically healers. They're support cookies, but they heal better, give you more better side effects, right? Ooh, Kumio. I'm going to go B. There are some people who use Kumio because Kumio does have the ability to transform. And I think when Kumio transform, it stops Kumio from being affected by some status effects, right? So as a frontline tank, Kumio is decent in the current meta. So I'm going to go B. Latte Cookie. Latte Cookie is still an A cookie. I see Latte Cookie used on some of the top teams on occasion because Latte Cookie still does good damage and still has silence. And silence can actually really help your team out because if you got Seaferry stun in the team, plus you got silence from Latte, it's really hard to get your skills off. So Latte is a good cookie. If you don't have a lot of the higher level cookies and you have Latte, level up Latte, still good in Arena. Okay, Licorice. S tier in Arena. Licorice is personally one of my favorite cookies in Arena, hands down. Licorice gives you that plus 20% defense boost. Licorice is going to put the minions out there in front. Licorice is a awesome counter for a lot of the Ginger Brave Tiger Lily comps. So if you have Licorice in your lineup, Licorice will put the minions out. The minions will absorb the attacks from Ginger Brave, absorb the attacks from Tiger Lily, keep your team from getting stunned. Plus, even when you're not fighting those comps, that plus 20% defense plus decent damage that you get from Licorice makes this an S tier cookie. Add in the fact that a lot of people do use Licorice in guild battles. I mean, in guild battles, Licorice is a mandatory cookie. So if you're focused on guild battles, you already have your Licorice leveled up a decent amount. You already have pretty good top-ends on Licorice. So that makes Licorice even better in Arena. I'd say S tier. Viable in a lot of comps. Madeline, S tier. Right, when it comes to speed comps, Madeline's absolutely needed, right? But outside of speed comps, you don't typically see Madeline used that much, so I'm going to go S tier. Mango Cookie. A tier Mango Cookie because Mango Cookie is used in some of the comps, especially some of the stun comps, but not used that much anymore. To be frank, Mango Cookie wasn't used that much right out the gate, but Mango Cookie does do decent damage, and it does disrupt the team a little bit. Milk Cookie. I'm going to go Milk Cookie at A because Milk Cookie does have a decent defense with that shield. Now, Milk Cookie was broken when Milk Cookie was able to defend Shark because of that bug, but doesn't have that ability anymore. Shark does the regular amount of damage against Milk Cookie, so Milk Cookie kind of falls, but Milk Cookie was good there. Was S tier for a while. Mint Cookie. Mint Cookie's going to S. Mint Cookie is one of those healers that is better than Herb, plus gives you added functionality, which I think is better than what Herb's added functionality is, and that is the increase in the speed boost. I think it's, if I remember off the top of my head, like a 40% increase in speed boost. That is absolutely needed in speed comp. So if you're using speed comp, you have to use mint, especially if you're using with like a lilac cookie that increases damage based on a speed boost, right? Speed comps are absolutely going to need mint, and mint is used in more traditional lineups. Here's why. Mint has a really high burst heal. Mint does not heal over time, but just heals one initial burst, and mint does a really good job. That is a lot of healing that you get from a support cookie, right? Plus, mint speeds up your cookies, so mint can be used in a lot of ways. I especially love the fact that when mint is paired with pure vanilla cookie, speeds up pure vanilla cookie's attack speed. So pure vanilla cookie normal attack, which heals your cookies, will happen more often. So you're gonna get more healing from pure vanilla cookie when you use mint. All around, one of the absolute best healers in this game. Parfait, I don't know whether to put Parfait in S tier or SS tier. It's very close. All right, SS tier. Here's why. If you're a top team in the meta, in the arena, you're going to use Parfait Cookie. If you look at the top 100 teams, almost every one of them is using Parfait Cookie. Why are they using Parfait Cookie? Because Parfait Cookie heals over a certain amount of time, but over that certain amount of time as a support character, Parfait Cookie is healing as much as Pure Vanilla Cookie. That's a huge amount of healing. Add in the fact that her skill allows you to get out of the Sea Fairy stun a little quicker. That is an absolute game changer. In retrospect, this is the easy call. SS for Parfait. Alright, so pastry. I'm going to say A tier. Alright, cookie, if you're using a speed comp, you might be using pastry. You might not. Used to be an absolute must-have cookie in S tier. It's very hard to think if pastry should go to S or A. You know what? Just because in certain speed comps, pastry can do a ton of damage, I'm going to go S tier. But pastry is right on that line between S and A tier. Poison mushroom, just don't use poison mushroom in arena. Completely awesome cookie in guild battle, but just not used in arena. Doesn't do fast enough damage. Pomegranate, A tier, right? I'm starting to see Pom pop up a little bit more. She gives you that additional attack boost. Plus, she can heal a little bit. So, a pretty good cookie. Yam, I'm going to go A tier. Just because Yam's starting to be used in some of the top teams now. Surprisingly, Yam is being used because you're trying to do the most amount of damage possible to Hollyberry, because the Hollyberry is going to absorb 20% of all cookies. So you combine someone like Yam and Squid Ink, put them together with Sea Fairy and a bunch of area effect damage dealers, and you overwhelm the team with the amount of damage they can cause. So I'm going to say A tier. That's actually a big move up. It would have been B tier for Yam before Hollyberry came out. Raspberry Cookie, I'm going to say A tier. Raspberry Cookie is a pretty good tank as far as when she gets her bug fixed and she consistently hits Sea Fairy or the other higher damage dealer cookie. She's going to reduce her attack by 40%. That does make a difference. That does keep your team alive. I found some pretty good comps for Raspberry. She's good enough to be an S tier, but I wouldn't say she's as valuable as like Hollyberry, Black Raisin, Almond, or Licorice. They're almost on a separate tier. Even Mint are almost a separate tier. Raspberry is kind of almost in that A to S tier range. Red Velvet has fallen to A tier, unfortunately. Red Velvet, it depends on the meta. So sometimes Red Velvet is absolutely awesome because Red Velvet can pull that backline healer, stun that healer, right? Then you got that 5-second delay before the team can get healed. But right now, Red Velvet's not being used that much. Oh, you know what? I really feel conflicted about Red Velvet. Red Velvet is... There are some double tank teams still running Red Velvet. And Red Velvet's doing some decent damage still. Okay, Red Velvet, S tier. My S tier is going to be tremendously longer than the rest of the list. Red Velvet, if Raspberry is an S tier, Red Velvet's S tier. Rye is going to go in A tier. The only reason Rye is in A tier is because Rye is really only used in one comp, Ryman. In Ryman, Rye is very good, but that's just one comp. Nope. Let's just go C tier. Moving on. Okay, Sorbet Shark. I'm going SS tier. Sorbet Shark is probably the best frontline damage dealer. The best damage dealer in arena behind Sea Fairy. Now, Sorbet Shark is starting to be used a little bit less. Some teams are using Black Rays instead of Sorbet Shark to deal with Hollyberry. So Sorbet Shark isn't like a guaranteed SS anymore. Kind of fallen. Definitely behind the first three in SS tier. But for now, if you look at the top 100 teams in the arena, pretty much all of them are using Sorbet Shark. Sorbet Shark does a ton of damage and definitely worth SS tier. So Sparkling, I'm gonna move up to S tier actually. Sparkling is able to fill that second healer role, right? Because typically you run 2 healers now to deal with the amount of damage that other teams are doing, especially with the crit damage boost and the new attack research that they're doing. So if you run Sparkle as the second healer, you get that plus 25% crit. And if you have that crit damage research plus Sparkle, you're going to do a lot of crit damage. So Sparkle's starting to come back. Squid Ink, I would say Squid Ink is... This is tough. S tier. Squid Ink is absolutely S tier if used with the right team. So I'm going to put Squid Ink in an S tier, not A tier, because there's enough comps that are starting to use Squid Ink, and Squid Ink does damage to the entire team. And especially if you have like the Scythe, that's a lot of critical damage because Squid Ink does a lot of hits. Strawberry Crepe, SS tier. The best tank currently in the game, in my opinion, better than Hollyberry, unless you are a super whale. So Strawberry Crepe staying up there, right? Strawberry Crepe's giving you that plus 50% damage resist for 2 of your cookies. And typically it's like 2 of your cookies that don't have enough damage resist that really need that. Plus, Strawberry Crepe does pretty good damage. Strawberry Crepe, the best tank in the game, in my opinion, at the moment. Tiger Lily, A tier as well. Tiger Lily's being used in a lot of comps. Ginger Brave, Tiger Lily comps. If I had non-epics on this list, Ginger Brave would be an S tier just because Ginger Brave is used in that many comps. Vamp, I'm going to go with A tier. Vamp is decent, especially in lower levels of Arena, but once you get to the higher levels of Arena, you don't use Vamp as much, but Vamp is great at picking off that backline healer. So Vamp gets A tier. And then this last cookie, Werewolf, C, not really being used. Fun Cookie was actually and then Werewolf's my last cookie, not really being used. Fun Cookie was actually my first epic pull. So here's my list. Let me know what you think of this list. I know there's some controversial cookies on here, like Hollyberry being an S tier, Shark possibly being an SS tier. You got Raspberry and Pastry in S tier when they might be borderline S or A tier. Even Squid Ink might fall into that category. But I'm pretty happy with this list. Let me know your thoughts. Thanks for checking out this video.